around you. Lightning can be a dangerous force of nature, an electrifying bolt that can seriously ruin someone's day. In fact, I have 3 impossible stories of lightning that may have you cowering the next time those darkened skies come rolling in. Then again, they may be creations of my own imagination, intended on testing your ability to see the difference between fact and fiction.
The line that divides the factual from the unreal has long since blurred. The tales we once thought fantastical, now implanted as true. To decipher verity from the imagined, you must break from the ordinary and consider a universe where the outlandish prevails. Can you expand your mind to see beyond our perceived reality? Can you decide what's fact or fiction?
Patrick Tanner was hoping to release a little pressure on the roadside during a motorbike trip in Barcelona. What he went through was a horror story that may have you questioning whether it's one I created simply to terrorize and leave you questioning what to believe.
At first, Patrick looked at me like I was crazy. No, absolutely not. No, I'm not sharing that. He threw up his hands in amazement. How did you even hear about this? Clearly, he wasn't pleased to have to relive the events of that rainy day. But when his wife responded to our casting call for stories from people who were struck by lightning, we couldn't jump at the chance to speak to him quicker. After a few minutes of urging, he gave in. She is in so much trouble, he slowly shook his head before beginning. My first trip out of the country. Can you believe that? I decided to go to Barcelona. Everything's beautiful and it seemed like a great place for a motorcycle ride. So one morning, I rented one. Little did I know, right smack dab in the middle of my joyride, I'd be caught in torrential downpours. You know that whole power of suggestion thing? Well, it's real, because when it started to rain, I couldn't help it. I had to go to the bathroom so bad. I was in the middle of nowhere, just some open roads, some trees, and me. I really needed to go, and I was already soaked, so I figured I'd just pull over. Patrick shakes his head and puts his face in his hands, as if just remembering what happened to him was humiliating enough. Just as I'm about to start, doing my business, lightning lights up the sky. I try to hurry, but I'm just soaked and disgusting and uncomfortable. Then it happens. I don't remember it happening, but apparently it did. Last I can remember, I was relieving myself, but I woke up in the hospital to doctors telling me that I had just been struck by lightning. Apparently some tourist passerby saw the whole thing and helped me get out of the storm. Doctors said that the lightning went through my body, and because I was wearing rubber motorcycle boots, it grounded itself through my manhood. He dipped his head into his hands again, trying to laugh off the embarrassment. I'm going to kill her? I can't believe she called you guys about this. Hey, just for the record though, it still works. I had slight burning on my chest and arms, but no further damage to my more vital parts.
Well, let's give all the men watching a moment to recover. Is Patrick Tanner's story too graphic to be real? Scientifically speaking, is it even possible? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and be sure to vote on screen now. Before we reveal the answers, we have another striking tale to share. 2 lovebirds are enjoying the throes of passion when Mother Nature decides she has something to say about it. What? You've never heard that one before? It's the inimitable love story of Kaylee Price and Alex Teller, one that not even Shakespeare could touch.
Alex was considerably more adventurous than Kaylee. At least that's how it had always been in their 3-year relationship. But that evening, it was as if an insatiable lust had driven her. The adorable couple had been driving all night long on A40, teasing one another, hoping to see just how riled up they could get each other. It would still be a little while before they reached Lippstadt, and Alex found that Kaylee was very good at their coy little driving game. Finding a secluded parking lot near a service station just outside of Dortmund, the couple continued to let their hands do some walking. When the car became too uncomfortable and cramped for their session of love, Kaylee suggested they take things outside. The car had been a frequent rendezvous point for the two, but Alex and Kaylee had yet to take their activities into the open air. The thought excited Alex, who, with little hesitation, popped the door and escorted his lovely lady into a nearby wooded area. Looking for a sliver of privacy, the two found an overgrowth of bushes to hide behind, and so, stripped of their clothing, they hid in the nearby overgrowth. Lost in their passion, neither had noticed the storm rolling in, even as the rolls of thunder grew more audible. The skies had yet to open, but electricity had started to fill the air. Alex could feel it, but didn't quite think it was anything but the energy between him and Kaylee. It didn't hit him what was coursing through his body until the woods around them lit up as if a bomb had just gone off nearby. Their eyes were assaulted by the flash of a bright light, leaving them seeing nothing but a haze and spots. The noise that followed was frightening, almost more so than the subtle wave of heat that washed over them. The ground seemed to shake as they scrambled up to their feet, their naked bodies hit by a sudden downpour of rain. When they both were able to regroup from the fright, they saw the ground right next to them charred and smoking. Still shaken by the experience, Alex and Kaylee rushed from the bushes, taking no time to throw their clothes back on as they stumbled their way back to the car. Naked, wet, cold, and afraid, just as they entered the world, the two pondered just how close to death they may have come during their literal roll in the bushes.
That was a close call for our lovebirds. Where do you stand on the level of believability of Alex and Kaylee's electrifying throes of passion? Is it possible to be unharmed with lightning striking just mere feet away? Let us know what you think in the comments section now. But first, we have a third and final tale of lightning's destructive force. It was a thrill ride that Regina O'Neill would never forget. It wasn't her first time enjoying the adrenaline of a roller coaster, but that sunny day would become her most electrifying and memorable.
I remember how excited she was to go to Six Flags that day. Her birthday was a week prior, and unfortunately it rained all day. Just a downpour that forced her to do everything indoors. Not quite the celebration she wanted, but we did eventually get to go. Gregory certainly spoke of his daughter as if she had passed away that sunny day in Santa Clarita, but she was very much so alive and well. She was, however, not one to talk about her 17th birthday. It scarred her, and not just physically. She hasn't been on a roller coaster since, which is sad because, well, we keep hearing how it was a 1 in a million kind of thing. She had her eyes on one, I want to say Cyclops, or Cyclone. Yeah, Cyclone, this rickety-looking roller coaster that all of her friends had talked about. She wasn't big into thrill rides, but she needed to do this one. It was such a beautiful day, and I even remember looking up from my place on the ground and watching the carts just streak across the blue sky. People worry about ride malfunctions and other passengers doing something stupid. You just don't get on a roller coaster and ask, I wonder if I'll be hit by lightning today. Regina rode the coaster twice, and it was during her second go that I saw it. This white streak in the middle of a nearly cloudless sky. It looked like it had cut through the sky right to the coaster, but it was hard to tell from my angle. It wasn't until the carts rolled in only seconds later that I realized the screams weren't of excitement or from adrenaline. That lightning did hit the cart, and worst of all, it struck Regina directly. It was so confusing. trying to process that your daughter was hit by lightning. Tack on that there wasn't hardly a cloud in the sky, and it just throws you for a loop. She was unconscious when the ride stopped, and the passenger next to her was just in shock. I thought I had lost her, but she woke up a few hours later after she had been rushed to the hospital. She was left with a scar that runs the length of her arm, but otherwise was miraculously okay.
Well, I bet that will make you want to keep an eye on the sky, even on the clearest of days. Or is lightning on a crisp and clear day not possible? And we're just throwing you for a loop. Comment with your thoughts and vote in the on-screen poll now. And let's get to the reveal.
Are you ready to find out if you can decipher between fact or fiction? Let's look back at tonight's 3 stories and find out which were born from reality and which were fabrications of the imagination.
How do you feel about our first story about the unfortunate motorcyclist who gave new meaning to the term lightning rod? It sounds like too delicate an organ to not have been damaged, so we understand just how unbelievable it is. Thing is, it was 100% real. The unfortunate biker was 29-year-old Ante Dinčić from Croatia, who was out for a local joyride when he stopped for a roadside bathroom break. Just like with Patrick, his parts survived and are fully functional. Sticking with the theme of unfortunately placed lightning strikes, we now look at Alex and Kaylee, who will never forget their coitus in the bushes. Did you think this ridiculous scenario was one of my clever creations? As much as I'd love to take credit for breaking the 2 lovebirds up, Lisa Grun and Jens Gottlieb of Western Germany actually experienced this exact scenario. Naked in the bushes, a bolt of lightning struck the ground right next to them, forcing them to end their fun and retreat from nature's wrath in their birthday suits. Many of us love a good roller coaster, but did Regina's Six Flags experience completely ruin it for you? You may be thinking that lightning on a clear day is impossible, but it is a recorded phenomenon. While it can happen, this exact story never happened. So don't worry, you're free to enjoy your roller coaster thrills, until you become the first victim, that is.
How well did you do in tonight's video? Did you look past the deception of our world and define the off-blurred line that struggles to separate lies from the truth? Let us know in the comment section below. And should you find the urge to test your perceptions again, be sure to subscribe and join us next time when we ask you to decide what's fact or fiction.